breaking news, Michael. Actually,
Yes.
to be honest, it's not breaking. It happened a few days ago, but Avatar just became the highest grossing movie of all time.
Oh, I love that adaptation of my favorite Western anime series.
But Michael, what year is this? Is this 2009? Oh, I wish it was 2009. Actually, yeah, 2009 wasn't that great. But you know what? No, of course it's not. It's 2021. And in case you missed it, this absolute genius movie from James Cameron. What he did is he released Avatar in Chinese theaters, and Avatar has overtaken Avengers: Endgame as the highest grossing movie of all time. Because of that, of course, Avengers: Endgame was released in April 2019, and it grossed like $6 million more than Avatar, like really close. Like they kept it in theaters. I reckon they kept it in theaters just to make sure it crossed the finish line. Like, okay, right, it's crossed it. Now we can take it. Now we can take it down. But yeah, no, Avatar's hit back, and now Avatar is at 2.8 billion, and so that's about 12 million now ahead. Like, it's sensational, man. Just this back and forth, you love to see it, and I can't wait for another re-release of Avengers: Endgame, Michael. I don't know about you. What do you think?
I'm excited for the re-release of The Phantom Menace, so it can get back its coveted spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or a remake of The Phantom Menace. Yes, that's what we need to.
Nisa excited about that.
Okay, let's get into the rock.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past, we give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke, and this week we are celebrating the 25-year anniversary of the release of the classic action film The Rock. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about The Rock?
The Rock. Yes, Michael, The Rock. 25-year anniversary is a 1996 American action thriller film directed by Michael Bay. His second, of course, we did Bad Boys last year. That was his first. Produced by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, and written by David Weisberg and Douglas S. Cook. The film stars Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage, Ed Harris, Michael Biehn, and William Forsythe. It was released on June the 7th, 1996. So yeah, we're not exactly at the 25-year anniversary, but you know, of course, basically, I timed this movie up with a new release of a new Nick Cage movie, and I shall have a look if that is still really. It's like a very low key movie, like it's not gonna break any records at the box office or anything. But I thought I time it up. I don't know, of course, because of COVID, I don't know if it's still being released, but I'll check. But anyway, yeah, and of course we did Point Break last week, another great action movie from the 90s. And so, yeah, The Rock this week. And Michael, can you tell me what the budget was for The Rock?
Oh, I don't know, like 25 million.
What?
No, it's way more. Sorry, that was really stupid. Let me try it again. 45 million.
I mean, no, like you're quite far off, Michael.
Really? I mean, so I wouldn't have expected it to be loads, because I would have thought, like, it's only a second film. I mean, it kind of just feels like. Is it like it's loads more? It's
a second film. Consider, the fucking people in this movie.
Yeah, I know, but like
you got Nicolas Cage, like at the height. I'm going to talk about that in a bit, but yeah, Nicolas Cage is absolutely going at it. In terms of being a star, and then you got Sean Connery, of course, as a legend. And you got some, interesting character actors. Look.
To be honest, Luke, I would say this. I am surprised it's more than 45 million. I know there's like a lot going on, but just especially seeing it was in the 90s, like honestly, that feels like a lot to me. But yeah, what is it, like 80 million?
75.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know, I know I was off, but like I would never have guessed 80 million. Sorry, I never would have guessed 80 million. I never would have guessed 75 million.
Well, you should have.
But yeah, 25 million was way too low. But
okay.
45 million, I stand by that as what I genuinely would have thought.
And how about the box office, Michael?
7 million. No, the weird thing is that for me, this doesn't feel like kind of a classic Michael, or it's not one of those films which is like really up there in terms of my perception of Michael Bay's filmography. But I guess, they invested a lot of money in it, and presumably they would have been very disappointed if the film didn't do well. So I'm thinking maybe it made like 350 million.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to guess like 180. No, well,
Okay.
okay. It's less than that actually. But you're very close. It's 335. So well done.
Oh, wow,
That's
okay.
a really good guess. Yeah. Now I was thinking like, I mean, this is Michael Bay's. It's probably his best movie.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you realised with the budget and the stars in there, and the fact that we're doing this, and well, you say The Rock isn't. The Rock is famous to me. Like it's one of the. I mean, we'll get into it right now, I guess. Michael, tell me, did you like The Rock?
Well, yeah, you said it was one of Michael Bay's best movies, and I agree. I mean, you said it was Michael Bay's best movie, and I agree. I think this film feels like, obviously it's over the top, obviously it's a bit stupid, but it does actually feel like it works quite well for me as an over the top, zany action movie. So I guess, yes, I would probably say I liked this film.
Yeah, no, I say this is a movie I very much liked. I liked Point Break last week, and I liked The Rock this week, and you could probably tell that if you paid attention to what I've been saying about the best 90s action movies. Of course I'm going to like The Rock, and just like I appreciated Point Break last week. But Michael, we still might have nitpicks regardless of our appreciation for this movie. How many nitpicks do you have?
I've only got one.
I've only got one as well, but I've got a lit pick, so you go first.
All right, yeah, basically, and this is a very tame nitpick too. He says like, hey, if you got hit by that fire, when they've got to roll through the fire, things like you catch one of those flame bursts, you're a corpse. And I think based on everything I know about fire, I'm pretty sure if you just get suddenly flashed with a brief little of fire, it actually is probably not gonna be that bad. Like unless it's insanely like super ultra hot fire, it's just like people run through
ultra hot fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, super hot fire. Actually,
super hot fire. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, basically, long story short, people run through fire. Like
okay, fine. But like Connery's 65 years old, so maybe his skin's a bit more sensitive. Yeah. But anyway, my nitpick. His girlfriend, right? She comes to San Francisco when Nick Cage is like, "Do not come to San Francisco. Do not come," and she's just like, "No, I'm still going," even though she knows he works for the FBI. Like I mean, who knows what he could be doing over there? And he's like, "Do not come," and she still comes anyway. You love to see it. I mean, I can appreciate she's his fiance, but can't you work out she's in danger, Michael? That's why there are no women in this movie. No, because that's what women are like. They're all stupid. So that's why
bloody women.
Yeah, they have to be pushed to the sidelines, and it's all the men.
But if you want to add conflict to your film, you just need one of those stupid women in there, and they'll screw everything up.
Yeah, I know, but they're so frustrating, And that's the thing; it's realistic, so that's why they need to be pushed to the side. And all the male characters, like that's the thing. Look, thinking back on it now, there's just like how many lines are said by women? It must be like 98% of the lines in this movie are said by men. Like maybe even higher, maybe 99, Michael, maybe even that high.
Doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah, I don't think it does. Anyway, so. My lit pick, by the way, is John Mcginley. He is also in this movie, along with being in Point Break. Not a main character, but it's
actually, I did notice him, and I was thinking you might.
Oh, thank God you noticed him, considering he's in the movie quite a bit, so that's good.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, obviously he was, in Point Break in this. That's the thing. John Mcginley, he could pick what movie to be in the mid '90s, action movies at least. He knew what he was doing, and also hospital set sitcoms as well. He knew about that as well. And anyway, Michael, let's now get into the plot of The Rock. So I'll just read it off from the start. In the film, the Pentagon assigns a team comprising an FBI chemist and a former SAS captain with a team of SEALs to break into Alcatraz, where a group of rogue US Force Recon Marines have seized all the tourists on the island and have threatened to launch nerve gas-filled rockets upon San Francisco unless Washington, that's the actual city of Washington, or the president and all of that, pays $100 million to the next of kin of 83 killed while under their command on missions denied ever to have existed by the Pentagon. So yeah, the Pentagon have done some missions in, say, China. That was the one that was pointed out, and those missions never officially existed. So those people that died, those Marines, never officially got compensation for it. So yeah, I don't know if anything has happened like this recently, but it reminds me of there was this incident in Venezuela a couple of years ago. I don't even remember, Michael, like some I think it was ex-Marines. I don't think they were working for the US government, but again, who the hell knows? Some ex-Marines like stormed the beaches in Venezuela, like to relieve the country of their socialist oppression, and just immediately got captured. That was good. That was funny. But
No, yeah. I remember reading something about like some US Marines who I think they were sent to Colombia to fight like obviously socialist rebels in Colombia, and they ended up getting involved in running a drug cartel, and I think they're quite a big drug cartel in Colombia now, which is fun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that makes sense, obviously. But so let's get into the actual movie now. So first off, I think a very key element of why this movie is such a great success is you've got all the ingredients, kind of like last week with Point Break. You need these ingredients. You hire these actors, you get a director, etc., into to create a feel for action movies. Because some of them can be quite stale, but this one definitely isn't. I mean, you got Nicolas Cage, you got Sean Connery, Michael Bay directing. Like his second movie back then when he wasn't doing Transformers Chinese propaganda. Back in the good old days. And of course, Don Simpson as producer, Michael. And tell me you know who Don Simpson is, right? Tell me you know who he is. Yes,
I absolutely do, Luke. He is the hit producer of such. I actually don't know what he does.
Okay, well, I'll tell you a bit about Don Simpson, because this movie, he's produced quite a few movies, but The Rock has particular importance for Don Simpson. So,
he produced Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah, basically, Michael, the guy was a drug addict. And a well-known one in Hollywood. But however, he refused to admit himself into a traditional rehab. In 1995, of course, when this movie was in production, he employed Dr. Stephen Ammerman to help him with his addiction. Ammerman, who had a history of drug abuse himself, believed that in order for Simpson to quit drugs, he had to use other drugs to combat the painful withdrawal symptoms. Makes sense, fight fire with fire. Ammerman designed what has been called a, quote, dangerously unorthodox, unquote, detox program, which including several medications, including morphine, for Simpson to take at home. On August the 15th, 1995, Ammerman was found dead in the shower of his pool house on Simpson's estate. It was later determined that Ammerman died of an accidental overdose of cocaine, Valium, venlafaxine, and morphine. So, I don't know, maybe Dr. Stephen Ammerman wasn't going down the right path there.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's more to this story. Frustrated with Simpson's escalating drug use and declining work, Jerry Bruckheimer, who of course also produced this movie, terminated their partnership in December 1995. But the two agreed to finish work on The Rock, which was already in production. Simpson died before production was completed, and the film is dedicated to his memory. And yeah, this is his last gift to the world, Don Simpson. The Rock. On January 19th, 1996, that's the day he died, Simpson was found dead in the bathroom of his Bel Air, LA home. His death was initially attributed to, quote, natural causes. An autopsy and toxicology report later determined that Simpson had died of heart failure caused by combined drug intoxication, cocaine and prescription medications. At the time of his death, do you want to have a guess how many different drugs were in his system, Michael? Do you want to have a guess?
Oh, blimey. Okay, let's go for 11.
21.
Okay.
21 different drugs in his system, including antidepressants, stimulants, sedatives, and tranquilizers.
Basically, it makes me imagine that he was just like the human equivalent to the episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets downs a whole thing of caffeine pills, and it's like, don't worry, I'll just balance that out with a tub of sleeping pills.
Yeah, I mean, just Christ, how could you do that to your body? I mean, it's a miracle. He I don't know if the first time he had up to 21, but my God, how is he? Because this guy was in his 50s. In August 96, investigative reporter Chuck Phillips of the Los Angeles Times revealed that Simpson had been obtaining large quantities of prescription drugs from 15 different doctors, and police found, guess how many prescription pills lined up in alphabetical order in his bedroom closet, Michael? Have a guess.
103.
2,200.
Oh dear.
A 1998 book by journalist Charles Fleming reported that Simpson's prescription drugs expense totaled more than $60,000 a month at the time of his death. He called Simpson, quote, a supercharged, simple-minded creature, an Aesop's fable on crystal meth, unquote. So there you have it.
Wow.
There is Don Simpson, Michael. And the reason, of course, why I bring him up, he was a famous producer, and this movie was his last gift to the world. I mean, look, he lived life in the fast lane. I think that's fair to say.
Yes.
And, maybe, he was obviously a flawed human being, but maybe that, those flaws allowed him to produce works such as The Rock. I don't know, Michael. Maybe.
Yeah, it's strange because in a way, you think about, for example, obviously there's people like Heath Ledger and Philip Seymour Hoffman who produced, or did these really fantastic performances, and they obviously had issues with drugs. I suppose we live in a society where if your tortured work of art of your mind is a schlocky action film, then people don't take it as seriously. It's a bit disappointing, really. Because that's the thing. Presumably, this guy he was a tortured mind as much as the grunge stars referenced in this very film.
Yeah.
But he didn't produce funky, soulful, alternative rock music. He just made the rock. And nobody takes him
better?
seriously.
I'd rather fucking watch The Rock than listen to grunge music.
Okay,
I can tell you that for free.
As you know, Luke, I am a fan of the band Nirvana, but I will say that this film is also good.
This film is better than anything that Nirvana have ever done. Like, Kurt Cobain would kill himself again if he saw this because he realised he could never live up to the heights.
Yeah, actually, he died shortly before this.
Yeah, he knew what was coming. He didn't. There's no connection between Kurt Cobain and The Rock, but apart from obviously the references to grunge. But anyway, so we start off in this movie, Michael. Like I just said before, we have to appreciate all the ingredients going into it. That's what makes it so good. And Don Simpson, his cocaine and 20 other drug-fueled binges.
Yeah, he had a lot of ingredients going into him.
Exactly. Yeah, if you think about it, there's a quite a nice comparison between his body and this movie, and and both eventually ended. So there you go. But anyway, so we start off with the military funeral of I don't know. It's so just some random military person who was killed on an illegal mission, I imagine. And of course, Michael Bay stuff with the American flag and the pouring rain. I just immediately we get into this, and some weapons of mass destruction. I use that phrase quite purposefully. Were stolen from an American base by this military commander, and they trap a guy in. Remember that right at the beginning of the movie. I think they could have let him out, but I don't know. Yeah,
I was thinking that too. It's kind of like it takes a while after, and I always think that whenever you get a moment where it's like, because I guess it's a thing that happens sometimes in like things where you got to like seal off the area, and then the other people obviously die on the other side, and you think like sometimes you got to be kicking yourself when you realize, oh, actually, you know what? It's taken a while for that virus to get him. We probably could have got him out of there in time.
Yeah, but anyway, so Dr. Stanley Goodspeed comes in. And we see an opening scene for him where he's saving the day by defusing a bomb in FBI HQ.
Yeah.
Just so much
At first
action.
I thought that was going to be like a kind of exercise or something, because it just seemed like so over the top from the beginning. I was like, oh, it's probably going to be some kind of exercise where they're acting as if it's real to kind of show how he is under pressure. But no, it turns out they just genuinely got sent like Michael Bay was like, how should we introduce this character? I know, they sent a bomb into his work.
That's Michael Bay, man. I mean, it's just so much action, and we're only 10 minutes in. And that's the thing. So you have those, you have two setups. You have, okay, this is Nicolas Cage character, and this is, the bad guys, what they've done. And then we get into, well, let's talk about the concept now, I guess, because the concept, I think, is amazing. After the opening 10 minutes, we get into what this movie is actually about. So these, I guess, what should we refer to them as, Michael? These Marines.
Rogue soldiers.
These rogue Marines, right? That's more,
okay, yeah.
These rogue Marines.
Or you could call them army people, because that will annoy the Marines, because they don't like being confused with other branches.
Well, that's a shame for them, I guess. But yeah, you know what? We'll call them Marines because, we'll be respectful. We respect what they've done. We respect the troops. So, yeah.
Thank you for their service.
Yeah, exactly. So they go to Alcatraz Island, or as it's known, The Rock. And yeah, they take it over. And I have to say, what a great idea. This famous island that everybody... I think maybe everybody didn't know, but I don't know. I was aware of it, but of course this movie came out like around the time I was born, so I don't know.
It's featured in an episode of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, this is before 1996.
Yeah, I think it was featured in like the old one. Where they used to have a laugh track.
So yeah,
back in the day,
and of course,
before What's New Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, and of course there's tourists that go there. So yeah, of course it must be famous to a certain degree. I don't really know why, because it's just a prison on an island. It's like they've got one of those in New York as well. Oh,
am I really stupid?
Rikers Island.
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think there is. I think it's because Alcatraz, like, it's kind of it sounds like almost a name for, like, it sounds like a kind of haunted name. So when you hear people like, oh, the mysterious prison of Alcatraz, it sounds
fucking like J.K. Rowling ripped it off with Azkaban.
Yeah, exactly. So it shows like
hack.
Yeah, did you know that J.K. Rowling ripped off the entire idea of a wizarding school from Anthony Horowitz?
I mean, I don't know if that's a joke or not.
Yeah, it's Anthony Horowitz wrote a book in the 80s called Gruesome Grange, and it was about a school for witches and wizards. To be fair, actually, I assume it's one of those situations where it's probably just like parallel thinking because if there's going to be witches and wizards, they've got to go to school.
Like,
if there's going to be an island, it's got to sound a bit like Alcatraz. It's the only way.
Anyway, so Alcatraz, but again, she probably wrote this. You think about it, she probably wrote The Prisoner of Azkaban around the time this movie came out.
Yeah, it's true, actually. She was... that's really... Oh, maybe there are other parallels. Like, Sirius Black kind of does look a bit like Sean Connery when you think about it, with the long black hair, and he's wrongfully imprisoned? Holy shit. It's all based... Who is Nicolas Cage?
Anyway, yeah, so they're basically taking prisoners hostage, and they're essentially, just... Here's the thing, the concept, taking people hostage and having demands, that isn't that a spectacular premise or a concept, but having it on Alcatraz, on this famous island, that's what's fantastic about it. I don't know how they came up with this idea. I looked on the production. There wasn't anything really about the specifics on Alcatraz. I'm sure I could find it, but I can't be bothered. But yeah, I just think, wow, at the end of the day, the bottom line, what a fantastic idea to have this hostage movie take place on this famous island. Genius, whoever thought of it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think more specific, or I guess more generally, actually, the idea of kind of having a hostage movie in a prison, maybe was where they thought about it. Like someone's like, oh, imagine if someone took a bunch of hostages in a prison, because there's already, and prisons, one of the distinct features of a prison, of course, is that you're not supposed to be able to, they're maximum security. So I'd imagine maybe somebody was like, oh, what if somebody took people hostage in a maximum security prison, because that way nobody would be able to get out, nobody would be able to get in. That might have been where the logic came from. That would be a really hard place to break into. And then he thought, oh, where's somewhere that famously is really hard to get into? Alcatraz. That's probably what I imagine it was. It came from the idea of, it's, and obviously that's a big thing in the film, the fact that Alcatraz is really hard to get into.
Yeah.
So that's where I imagine it came from.
Absolutely. Interesting tidbit on Alcatraz. Most of the film was shot on location in the Alcatraz prison or Alcatraz Island. I think that's fairly obvious. As it's governed by National Park Service, it wasn't possible to close Alcatraz down, and much of the filming had to accommodate tour parties milling around, which I find quite funny. Sean Connery going on about fucking getting gang raped, and there's some tourists on the other side of the of the room. But yeah, anyway. Also, by the way, we'll get onto that in a bit, because that's for a bit later. But yeah, so that's Alcatraz. Genius idea to have the movie there. Just fucking fantastic. So, Stanley Goodspeed, Dr. Stanley Goodspeed, is called in to help the FBI. Of course, played by Nick Cage, and also they bring in Sean Connery. Do you remember his character's name, Michael? Because it's not as good.
Mason, something Mason.
Yeah, it's like John Mason or whatever. Goodspeed is a great name. Wow. Why couldn't they have done that? Anyway, John Mason.
They should have had a scene where he punches somebody through a wall, and then he can go, that's what I call masonry.
I thought, I don't know about that. I don't know.
Because masons build walls.
Yeah, I get it.
You can't argue with the logic there.
I get it, but he wouldn't just reference his own surname. Anyway, so a prisoner who...
If only there was an Elton John song called Masonry.
Yeah, he's... okay, so Sean Connery is a prisoner, of course, who managed to escape Alcatraz 30 years ago. And I think it's just the perfect setup to an action movie. You get this scientist in, he's a bit whimsical, who's not your typical action hero, alongside this criminal who, you need, since nobody else has the knowledge of how to break out. It's a case of, right, it's a familiar action movie trope, but I don't know, maybe it's because it's just Sean Connery, it's more enjoyable. Because it's a bit weird to have the guy we have to help break out is this 65-year-old British man, who talks like this. It's a bit weird. But I know it's a trope, Michael, but I still like it. Maybe it's just me being biased because I like this movie, but I do like it.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's kind of and obviously, you have got that aspect of. I guess it is the idea of having the kind of guy who he's not past it. He's actually what do they call it? Wisdom over beauty. He's experienced.
Yeah,
and that's his trope.
The FBI director God damn it, not this guy, anybody but him. God damn it, we're gonna have to get him, aren't we? God damn it, just beautiful. Anyway, so Sean Connery gets a haircut from this hairdresser. Do you think he's gay? I don't know. That's something that happened.
I found him quite funny. I don't know why there was one specific thing he said that.
Oh, it's because they were in the elevator.
Yeah, that was it.
Just tell me.
He was like, I just want to know if yes, that was it. Yes, thank you, Luke. Yes, that was the scene. I was like, yeah, that's funny. It's one of those. I don't see. I tell you what, you must surely enjoy Terminator 3.
Terminator 3. I haven't seen that.
Okay. Terminator 3. Lots of people don't like it because it's very stupid and over the top. So I guess you've probably seen Terminator 2, where of course Arnie,
Does it know it's stupid and over the top?
Yes, it does. Okay. Well, I think most people, it comes across in, okay, I'll give you an example just really quick. Okay, so in Terminator 2, Arnie obviously walks into the motorbike place and he says the whole, like, I need your shoes, your boot, your motorcycle, whatever. And then he fights them all. In Terminator 3, he instead walks into a male strip club and he... and he beats up like the stripper who obviously is wearing leather, and then he comes out and he puts on his sunglasses and they're like pink star sunglasses. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah,
That's
you
good.
should watch Terminator 3. I think you really would actually love it.
Okay, anyway, so Sean Connery basically escapes after he has his haircut, and of course FBI Director Womack is thrown off the balcony, and that was filmed on location at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco. And the filming led to numerous calls to the hospital by people who saw a man dangling from the balcony.
Oh.
Yeah, they actually... That's the thing, because I was thinking... I don't know why, but I thought it was a green screen, because it just didn't look real. I thought that was like, this isn't real. But apparently I'm looking at the Wikipedia, and it was. And, a lot of people called the hotel because of the man dangling from...
I wonder if they had any kind of safety net. Because, like, obviously, I can't think what it is, but there's, like... a lot of the time you'll get people doing practical stunts. I don't know why I suddenly went a bit Sean Connery. But then there's some kind of safety. Like, presumably, obviously, he must have been held in place with like a guide wire or something. Like, they wouldn't have had him literally hanging by a thread.
Oh yeah. Obviously.
So maybe that's why it looked fake. Maybe what happened is they filmed it perfectly, and then they kind of were a bit overzealous when it came to like removing some stuff because they had like the guide wire there.
Yeah.
And they accidentally, maybe that's why it looked fake. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, so we get on to I think the best action scene in the movie. Of course, there's quite a few. It's the one where he escapes Sean Connery from the hotel. You get some nice Pirates of the Caribbean music. I mean, to me, that's what it sounded like. Of course, Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't released until like 10 years later, the first movie. But that's like, I don't know if you picked up on the music, Michael, but it kind of sounded like that. Like,
I can think of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of generic.
Yeah.
Like that kind of energy.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, he manages to get a Hummer. And of course, Stanley Goodspeed, he has to commandeer a Ferrari. Like, FBI, I have to take this vehicle. And yeah, we'll get into the action scenes later, but just I love that action scene. Like I don't know. Well, we'll get onto how we rank it, but yeah, brilliant action scene. And then yeah, Sean Connery basically just wants to meet his daughter, and I do like this is another positive. Nicolas Cage is like, yes, your father is helping us, ma'am. He hasn't broken out of prison. We need him for a mission. Like, she's like 8 years old, but I mean, that's the thing. It's a good tactic from him, and I like the fact that they did it. But I'm not sure if I was his daughter. I don't know if I'd buy that because there's like 20 like police cars.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this guy who's been a criminal all his life. Yeah, why do you need like everyone to come and find him?
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I guess at least gets to show that Nick Cage is a nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I do like it, and it makes sense that Nick Cage would do that. So anyway, Sean Connery then has to enter Alcatraz. He has a great line which he says the FBI director is like, looks like you're between a rock and a hard case. You like that one, Michael? Did you appreciate
yes,
that?
I did, because he's a hard case. Because he's a case and it's the rock. Yes, brilliant.
Yes. What a brilliant line. And of course, here's where I was like, this is actually... It was at this point I thought, this is a very good movie because Stanley Goodspeed, he's understandably nervous, and that is the thing when you realise when you're watching the scene, it's like these characters like are fully fleshed out characters. And, I think of like from other action movies, say, the one that sticks out in my mind is Godzilla, the 2014 one. When you had a guy going into it who was just like one-dimensional. But, these characters, Nicolas Cage and Connery... the movie pays attention to them. Like, they have that scene where he goes off into a bathroom and pukes. Like, that's great. And, that's why you get so, I guess, engaged with this, because they feel like real characters. And I don't know, it just feels like so many action movies just disregard that. They're not focused on, like, the actual characters. And the generic one-dimensional, like I said, I think Godzilla's the worst culprit. But this one, why it's so good is these characters are actually, proper characters. And it was at this point in the movie I was like, oh yeah, this is why it's working so much, because like these characters I can actually like that scene there again. It's not a scene you probably forget, Mike. You probably forgot about it, right? Until I brought it up, it wasn't in your mind.
When he throws up.
Yeah, when he throws up. But it's just like those crucial little scenes are the key to making an action movie good. Essentially, of course, the action scenes and the overall plot matters, but those scenes matter quite a bit. And a better movie or a worse movie wouldn't have it in there, but this is a better movie, so it does.
Yeah, and also I guess it makes the characters come across as a bit more vulnerable, which makes you more invested in them.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, it helps you get engaged because they feel like real. Yeah, they don't feel like one-dimensional. And so then we get into Alcatraz. By the way, that underwater scene apparently it cost like $30 million. I don't know if you know that. It costs a hell of a lot of money to film. Yeah.
Probably because they kept breaking the camera until they realised they should probably get a waterproof one.
Yeah, that was probably it. But this could be it, actually. There were tensions during the shoot between director Bay and Walt Disney studio executives who were supervising the production. Bay recalls a time when he was preparing to leave the set for a meeting with executives when he was approached by Sean Connery in golfing attire. Connery, who also produced the film, asked Bay where he was going, and when Bay explained he had to meet with the executives, Connery asked if he could accompany him. Bay complied, and when he arrived in the conference room, the executives' jaws dropped when they saw Connery appear behind him. According to Bay, Connery then stood up for Bay and insisted that he was doing a good job and should be left alone. So there you go. And I think that may refer to that scene, that underwater scene. I don't know really what other issues there would be apart from that. So yeah, I mean, Sean Connery stuck up for Michael Bay, and you know what? He was right. I mean, this is a good movie. I think Michael Bay, his style works, which we'll get into in a bit. And of course, this movie made a fuck ton of money. So everyone was happy at the end of the day. And Sean Connery's reputation was intact. And that was very important.
Yes.
Anyway, so we get into Alcatraz. Sean Connery rolls through the fire. Like you said, Michael, who knows if he would have been burnt to a crisp. But anyway, he rolls through the fire. He then opens the door. Welcome to the Rock. Brilliant moment. Just brilliant. What movie are we watching, Michael? What movie are we watching?
The Rock.
Yes, Michael, exactly. That's what this movie is. Yeah, like I said, just a brilliant line. And also, you never thought you'd hear Sean Connery or he would ever utter the line, avoiding gang rape in the washroom. But he says that too. That was the line I referenced there. Imagine, Sean Connery, avoiding gang rape in the washroom, just brilliant. That's what I want to hear Sean Connery say in a movie. But anyway, so they're breaking in through the tunnels, and then they realise that they've been trapped in the shower room. You know, they've been, it's a stupid thing I don't get it, because they're moving this motion sensor. So they must know that, if we're moving this motion sensor, then the fucking bad guys are going to fucking, see this shit. But yeah, they just go into the shower room anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because he says something about like kind of using a mirror to direct the laser so that it will like trick the sensor. I think is what he's saying. But then he says like hopefully they don't notice. But then they just all go up there anyway, which is like, well, hold on a minute. If you think there's a chance they will notice because they think, it's kind of just funny how he's just like, don't worry, I'm going to do this thing to make sure that we don't get caught. And then you just cuts to them being like, hey, somebody's totally breaking in right now.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that didn't go very well, did it?
It
is really funny, that just all of them go up apart from Goodspeed and Mason.
Yeah. I mean, only a couple of people should have gone up, but all of them go up, and yeah, they pay for it. And then this is where Michael Bay really comes into his own. Some absolute great dialogue and camera movement between the general, or the rogue general, and the commander. When the general tells him to drop his weapons, and the commander goes, "I cannot give that order."
Well, hold on a minute. Did you not find that just ever so slightly so over the top? It was sort of funny.
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
it wasn't. Maybe it worked.
I don't know. Like it was just the extreme angle. Like, give that order. I'm gonna give that order. Give that order.
I'm not gonna repeat that order. I will not give that order. It's over the top. Yes, it's the camera panning up and zooming in, and the music in the background. It's so over, but it fucking works. It works because it is a dramatic. There's so much tension going on in the scene.
You know, I do have one small criticism, which is, I feel like he totally could have given that order. In that, like, I'm pretty sure it's pretty standard in any military situation when you're completely outgunned and screwed to be like, yeah, sure, we'll surrender. Like, and it's not as if like the guy said, we need you to, fire the thing at a civilian population, in which case obviously he'd say no. But all they said was, hey, can you just surrender?
Yeah, but
so really, I think
he's playing chicken.
I know. It's just
he's just like, you get, because he's not actually going to give the order to shoot us because we're fucking US Marines. Or what? Yeah, I think they're a SEAL team. I think that's what they are. So he's not actually going to tell us to. Pretty stupid SEAL team. They're a SEAL team, lads, and he's not going to actually give the orders to shoot them. But he's.
Okay. You know what? See, so basically the guy on the ground, on the ground level,
the commander
is calling Ed Harris's. His name is Ed Harris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the second guess myself, calling his bluff. Okay, I didn't, because I was sat there thinking, why can't you just give the order? But yeah, if he's calling his bluff, that does make sense. So yeah, okay, good, well done.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought was going on at the time, but maybe not. But it works. Like, I cannot give that order. I'm not going to repeat that order. I will not give that order. and like, because of course, the thing is, all these characters can die. You know that, and they've literally just got in. They've literally just got in, and this is what they're being faced with. And and obviously their reputations have been built up, and you don't know what's going to happen because the main characters aren't involved, so anything can fucking happen. And that's why it works. I think why the tension is there. And of course, all of them do die because a bit shit how some rock crumbles, but I guess that can happen in an old building. It is what it is, and everybody starts shooting. And of course, then it's just Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery. And I think it works well because you have to get them on your own. I guess you have to have the team with them. You have to have them die. So therefore,
otherwise they'd just be like third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th wheels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe you could have like one other guy there, but of course he goes up and shoots because of course he does. And then he dies, and so it's just them two. And then we learn the backstory about Sean Connery. He was a British spy who stole America's secrets because the British government wanted some files back. And then they claimed they didn't know who he was. So the American government just locked him away. But here's the thing. If he stole stuff in 1962, Michael, how would he know about the Kennedy assassination? Because that hadn't happened yet.
Oh, well, obviously he found the stuff from the CIA planning it in advance.
That's what I thought, unless he stole the files that were planning the Kennedy assassination. Dun, dun, dun. The FBI director, by the way, says his daughter wasn't born in 1972 because J. Edgar Hoover died before his daughter was born, but he escaped Alcatraz in 1963. So is he still living in the San Francisco area then? After like 10 years, he's just didn't bother to move, even though he's an escaped convict. Pretty stupid if you ask me, but I guess that's the reality of what he did. Just like San Francisco, really loved it, just wanted to stay.
Quite possibly because he had he got actively involved in the community in the prison showers.
So he didn't want to avoid the gang rape in the washroom.
I really was drawn to San Francisco. They seem to share similar interests to me.
Yeah, thing is, I've watched the movie Milk about Harvey Milk, the first gay person elected in the United States. And his death, which led... What is great is about American politics is you can look at these consequential movies and then it just a load of history stems off from that still impacts the present. The guy who killed Harvey Milk killed the mayor of San Francisco as well. And who did that lead to be the next mayor of San Francisco? Dianne Feinstein. And then she used that to become senator, and she's still senator today. Wonderful stuff when I found that out after watching the movie. But so the thing was like the gay community in San Francisco wasn't really active until the early 70s. So in the mid 1960s, probably wouldn't have been the case that Connery would have, if he was gay, he would have wanted to hang around San Francisco.
That makes sense. Maybe actually it was the opposite. Maybe he was like, after an experience in the shower, I want to live in the least gay city possible. And then just as he was there, he was like, oh no, I could see it changing.
Yeah.
When he goes out his words, he's like, take me back, I don't want to escape. The whole, like in The Simpsons, has the whole world gone gay?
Has the whole world gone gay?
When he sees the hairdresser, that was pretty traumatic for him.
God, it hasn't changed, has it? It's just got worse. Yeah, and now he says, no, I'm not going to kill you because you're going to tell my secrets. I'm going to kill you because you're gay. That would have been, they cut that line. But he did actually kill the hairdresser. That's the canon I choose to believe, given what the backstory we've created about Sean Connery's character. But anyway, so... the turning point in the movie when Sean Connery gets on board with it is he realises that his daughter, who lives in San Francisco, could be in danger. And and it makes sense. Like, that is a plot development that makes sense. He just doesn't just have a random change of heart. He's like, oh shit, these chemicals could kill my daughter. Although perhaps he could have escaped and rescued his daughter, although he may have appreciated how the FBI would know that he's gone to get his daughter. And so they would be at his daughter's house anyway. I do like how, by the way, he looked up into the sky, the light coming down from the sky. That was his freedom, but he turned back towards Nick Cage. You think Michael Bay's bad?
Spiritual.
Well, it's like freedom. That's what it was. It's like, I could look up towards freedom. My freedom's right there, but no, I'm going to stick with Nicolas Cage in these Alcatraz tunnels. And then... Yeah,
I've heard this idea about Michael Bay, that he is a good filmmaker. It's just like, he doesn't have any kind of restraint. So like a lot of the time, Michael Bay, the stuff he does and kind of the filmmaking techniques he uses are often very technically competent, and he, obviously is able to use kind of symbolism and things like that. It's just he'll often go a bit over the top with it, which it seems to be somewhat consistent with what I've seen from Michael Bay.
Yeah, no, I think I completely agree with that. Like, the thing is, like, I really like some of the shots in this movie. Like, they're really good, and they're really nice. And obviously he's in charge of that. So yeah, maybe your theory, Michael, is correct, that he is actually a good filmmaker. He just needs to be, I don't know, reined in or not go so far. Because when he does stuff, sometimes it can work. Yeah, so I agree with you. You're happy about that, Michael? You're happy I agree with you on that hot take of yours?
Yeah, you know what, Luke? I think it's important in the spirit of Mason and good fellas, Goodspeed being able to reconcile, that we can come together and agree on things.
Yes. So then Sean Connery lets himself get captured. And I don't really know why he does that. What is the point of that? Maybe it's to see whether the general will actually kill him, since, he's like, oh, he's not a murderer, he's just a soldier. Maybe that's the case. And of course Nicolas Cage gets captured as well. So anyway, he escapes with Goodspeed. No, that is a name of it's like a race festival thing. It's called the Goodwood Festival of Speed or something.
How Freudian.
Yeah. So there you go. And so Goodspeed, escapes with him, because of course he does. And then he does this thing again where he, like, it's quite frustrating because he's already done it once, and like he walks away. He's like, I'm escaping, and Nicolas Cage has to get him back, and Sean Connery just punches him. And it's like, yeah, it's fun and all, but it's like, come on, you've already walked away. You don't need to walk away again. And they then get back into the castle, whatever, and they see that the general has not decided to fucking kill all of these Oakland Raider football fans, which is that's good move from the general, and they see a mutiny happens because of that, and I have to say it's not really clear why the mutiny happens. Since, it's clear that they're not getting their money. Like one of the guys, like the captain says, I want my $1 million or whatever. And I mean, at this point, it's quite obvious that the US government is not going to give them that money. Like they've waited like 40 hours. They fired a rocket at the Oakland Raiders stadium, and it still hasn't worked. I did look. The mutiny, it kind of makes sense, but I don't know. It just feels a bit. Do you agree, Michael? It just feels a bit, pointless, because it's quite obvious that the government isn't going to pay up. They've not done it so far, and they're not going to do it in the future.
I think I would be willing to say that in that situation, you'd be so frustrated and angry. I think there's always going to be. I guess there's always going to be that attitude of, and it's kind of the big problem, always with having any kind of. I guess threat, like holding something hostage when you're not actually really willing to do that thing. It's the fact that obviously if somebody just says, no, we're not going to give you that thing, you say, I promise I'm going to do it, and they say no, and then it's like, well, they're not giving it to me anyway, so what's the point? But I guess, maybe if you're a kind of angry person who does things on principle, maybe you're like, no, I want to bloody take over and have a mutiny so I can just kill everyone because I'm angry. So I guess that's the only explanation, that they're just like so frustrated from everything that's happened and so worked up, they're just like, bloody, let's flippin' just kill them all.
Yeah, they sound like that. Like, oh, bloody, let's just flippin' kill them all. That's a good impression of them, Michael. Well done. So anyway, Goodspeed, and Sean Connery both have to. They save the day by taking down these soldiers who have committed this mutiny, and of course, Goodspeed. We have to talk about that great line. When he blasts that guy out of fucking Alcatraz. Do you like Elton John, or do you like Rocket Man by Elton John? It's like, I don't like that soft shit. Well, cause it's you. You're the Rocket Man.
It's brilliant. It's so so clunky. Like, that's the thing though. It's like, I would say it works because it doesn't work, if that makes sense. Because it's not like a well delivered snappy line or anything. Like, it's incredibly clunky just to be like, you ever heard of Rocket Man? Well, guess what? You're the bloody Rocket Man, mate. And it's like, it's a very kind of almost awkward line, and yet because it's just really funny.
No, but
you're the Rocket Man.
It's awkward. Yes, it's awkward, and it's quite funny, but it works because of the character saying it. Like Sean Connery ain't saying that.
Yeah,
like Sean. I mean, maybe he was in jail when Rocket Man was released. I don't know, but yeah, it's Sean Connery or a serious character saying it doesn't work because it's Nick Cage and he's playing this character who's a bit, like I said, whimsical. It works with him saying that, and it's a great line. I love it. It's great. I thoroughly enjoyed that line. Anyway, yeah, blast him with a rocket, gets the chemicals, but then some guy starts firing at him with a machine gun, and this could have been a nitpick. There's literally nothing covering Goodspeed apart from glass. You see the sniper, like you could see it's like, oh, there's there's a fucking gap in the glass where Goodspeed is looking at the gun. So how do those bullets not hit him? And just build a fucking brick wall in that place so that it doesn't look so ridiculous. I don't know. I was just disappointed with that. It's like, come on, Michael Bay, you can do better. You can do better there. And obviously, then Sean Connery kills him, and then Nick Cage sets off the green flares at the end. And I will say, it's satisfying when he does that. It's great. A great shot of him releasing the flares and the fighter jets flying over the top. And like I said, I do like it, but I have to say, the ending, it just does seem quite unsatisfying. Since the major threat of San Francisco being destroyed is gone. That's it. The major threat is gone. Like, they're not going to destroy San Francisco. Like, once Nick Cage, basically gets the fucking gets the final rocket and takes out the guidance chip and crushes it. It's like, yeah, that's done. Now, and he may die, but at the end of the day, he's saved the day.
Yeah.
And then you got 5 minutes of just them basically finishing off the last of the fucking the last of the fucking bad guys. And it's like, oh, there's like 3 people who they need to kill. Like, if those 3 people don't, if those 3 people don't die, well, I mean, San Francisco will still be saved. And yes, you got to save the 81 hostages and all that, but you can just light the green flares anyway. You can do that right away, couldn't you? Once the chips are gone, because at the end of the day, there's still 3 bad guys on this island. That's fine. You can take care of that. All the threat's gone. So yeah, I just think the ending could have been better, Michael. Like, you should have had Goodspeed or Connery, kill the last guy as he's putting in the code to initiate a launch onto San Francisco with the chemicals, and they kill him just as he's. I know it's a bit cliche, but I think it's a better ending. It's a more satisfying ending. And then they look left and see the fighter jets coming in, and then they release the flares. And yeah, that I think that would have been better. So yeah, what do you think? Do you think the ending isn't as satisfying as it could have been?
Yeah. I think it's kind of a basic matter of getting the bad guy get to their comeuppance in the same instance as the major threat is averted. I guess that's kind of the ideal situation, and that's obviously what this film pretty much fails to properly achieve.
Yeah.
I pretty much agree with you exactly that it would have been quite a bit better if it would have had things resolve slightly better.
Yeah, it should have resolved slightly better. So yeah, that's the movie. And I guess let's talk about the characters now, Michael, within the movie, and then we'll talk about the action. Or should we talk about the action first? What do you want to talk about first?
Actually, look, I do want to talk about the characters first.
Okay.
And you can't stop me.
All right. So, Dr. Stanley Goodspeed. How about that for a name? I mean, look, it's played by Nick Cage, so you're expecting a bit of weirdness, but come on, Dr. Stanley Goodspeed.
No, yeah, I mean, it's like I think of the classic fake Star Wars name, Jimmy Scrambles. You probably don't know what that's a reference to, but there's a thing where someone's come out with a fake Star Wars name, it's like Jimmy Scrambles, and it's kind of like that sort of name. I guess in a way it's kind of like a Star Wars name, like Luke Skywalker, Jez Blasterbolt, and I love it. Yeah, I do agree. It kind of it's comic booky. It's kind of action adventure sort of name. Just like, yeah, my name's. What was his first name actually? Stanley. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty Stanley Goodspeed. It sounds like it is pretty funny, and it's hard to say because it's just the guy's name. You can't really hammer the point home, to the full extent because it's just the guy's name. But it's just what a name, Stanley Goodspeed.
I mean, to be fair, like I'm looking, Goodspeed is actually a last name.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things like these people aren't lunatics. They don't make up names. But some people do have, I mean, like Powers is a last name, isn't it? But, if someone was called, let's say, Max Powers.
Be a bit ridiculous. Yeah. So I love it when when his wife told him he's pregnant, and she's pregnant.
Yeah.
The acting throughout this movie is great. Like Nick Cage in his absolute prime. And you have this back and forth. I'm going to talk about Sean Connery's character as well, because I think, you have to talk about them both at the same time, because back and forth, I was writing down these lines and I was like, oh my God, like these guys, they're you know, you might think that Nick Cage, because he's, you know, like Sean Connery's the alpha in this movie, Nick Cage could get upstage, but Nick Cage isn't going to get upstage. Oh no, not by a long shot. When he goes, all right, right now I just, I want to find some rockets, like that. Just, oh, what? How can you not love Nick Cage, Michael? How can you not?
Yeah, he's kind of got like. What you mentioned, obviously, when he finds out from his wife, he's kind of got that weird. I can't think of the other film he has it in, which I'm thinking of. It might actually be Face Off, where he's kind of almost got like a stoner energy to him, which is like, yeah, that's very interesting. Oh, I can't believe you're pregnant. That's crazy. Like he's kind of just got like that weird, almost sedated attitude, and then obviously, you know. So I guess he's got that kind of manic depressive thing going on, of going from like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll head over there to San Francisco, to then just being like completely over the top.
Yeah,
I love it.
Like that craziness, that edge about his character, and when he says when they're dealing with the first chemicals. And he says to Sean Connery, like, right now I'm dealing with one of the deadliest substances in the world, so why don't you cut me some freaking slack? Like that. I can't do a good impression of him, and it's hard to do because, you know, it's Nick Cage, and I can't exactly remember how the lines were delivered, but like, it's good because here's the thing: Sean Connery could easily have, like, because he's fucking Sean Connery and he's got that accent and his character is like that alpha guy. Could have easily, I guess. I don't know, he could have easily just overshone, like, or put Nick Cage or whoever was playing this character in the shadows, you know, and it's like, oh, he's the boring character that we're meant to like, who's got a wife, or who's got a fiance, and has got a kid on the way. But he's not. Like, Nick Cage plays him, you know, he's eccentric, and that makes the character stand out. So yeah, I appreciate that, and yeah, maybe only Nick Cage could pull it off. And we have to talk about Michael. This movie, The Rock, is. Nick Cage, this is the start of probably one of the greatest cinematic runs for an actor in movie history. Because this, of course, was followed, The Rock was followed for Nick Cage by Con Air, and after that it was followed by Face Off. That right there is a dynasty, Michael. We're talking a dynasty.
It's true.
Face Off, great. Con Air, great. And before that, The Rock. I mean that... Just an incredible run of action movies that I love them all. And even, do you know what his role was before this? What movie he was in before The Rock?
No, I want to know. Well, I was about to look it up actually because I was. Oh, we've reviewed it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He won a Best Actor for it.
Oh bloody hell! I know. Yeah, sorry. Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas, exactly correct. So Leaving Las Vegas, The Rock, Con Air, Face Off. Those are the 4 movies he did in a row, and afterwards it kind of fell off. But yeah, this was maybe like peak Nicolas Cage in terms of, you know, I mean, he's appeared in so many movies, like he's done so much stuff, but like this performance, you know, coming off an Oscar, being in this action movie that grossed like 300 million, and of course, you know, Con Air and Face Off are great as well, but I think probably of all of those 3 movies, The Rock is the best. So yeah, maybe peak Nicolas Cage, and yeah, that needs to be mentioned. I think people have mentioned that, like he did fucking The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off in a row, you know, all in a row. But yeah, it's the Rock I think is the best. So yeah, anything else to say on Nick?
Oh yeah, I didn't realize. So Face Off was even in the same year. I guess, you know, it rivals the other classic example is mid-90s Jim Carrey, where he did like Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber.
No, those aren't as good. Nah.
Well, I know, but it's just they're similarly. I would say they're quite iconic in their. They're very they're era defining in a significant way. I would say. Like I would say, you know, I'm not necessarily saying they're as good, although I do enjoy Dumb and Dumber. I haven't seen Ace Ventura in ages, but I feel like it's probably not aged well. But yeah, like I'm not saying their story is good, but I just say like when I think about kind of actors having one defining sort of run, yeah, I kind of would put Jim Carrey's mid thingy. I mean, to be fair, like Nicolas Cage, I guess it wasn't necessarily his defining run; it was just a run of very good movies. Because obviously he's been in like lots of other stuff. I mean,
what do you mean by defining? Like what other? Well,
I mean, the thing is, so it's kind of weird because he's been in like. He's had like a run of bad films, I think, because he did like The Wicker Man and Ghost Rider pretty close to each other.
Yeah, but that didn't define him. That's like, I mean, it depends what you think about Nick Cage.
Well, yeah, I guess that's the thing, because there's lots of people who know Nicolas Cage. I mean, there's lots of people who know Nicolas Cage from like his early romantic comedy stuff, like Raising Arizona and Moonstruck. So it's a bit like I just really enjoy him as an actor. I do, and this is where he's at his best in these action movies. I believe that's what I think. And it's the same for Sean Connery. Because, you know, he didn't appear in any action movies before this, right? This was his first one. Well, I mean, technically, one could argue that the James. Well, no. See,
No,
obviously,
I'm
I was going to say.
joking.
No, I was going to say like well, that wasn't really a joke. I was going to say obviously the James Bond action films aren't. It's almost like this is a different caliber of action to the '60s James Bond action films.
They're spy action thrillers. I guess that's the genre. I mean,
they definitely are action.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. But anyway, Sean Connery. Michael, can you say the line? Losers always whine about doing their best. Sorry. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Okay, I'm just going to repeat it again normally just for for I guess contrast. So losers always whine about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. losers always whine about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Losers always whine about doing their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Good.
I like it.
Yeah, just what an epic line. That's the thing, like that line. I don't know. It shouldn't work. It's just so like cliche, but it just comes out of nowhere, and just gives you a great. And the thing is, he says prom queen. Like they definitely didn't have proms back in whenever Sean Connery was growing up in Britain. Like that's a very American thing. Nowadays it's not so much, but back in the day it was. So him saying that, yeah, I don't know, it shouldn't work, but it does. And just kind of the randomness of it, and he delivers it so well. And Nicolas Cage is like his wife Carla. Carla was the prom queen, and yeah, that gives him the confidence. Like yeah, you can do this. Yeah. Great. And yeah, so I really do like that line. Again, I don't know, it's just maybe I'm biased because I do like the movie, but I feel like all these lines, which are like schlocky action movie lines that you wouldn't hear in real life or in a serious movie, they work. Like they work. And that line is probably the line which shouldn't work the most, but again, it does work the most. You know what I mean, Michael? You're on my wavelength here, right?
Yes, exactly. You could say it's so wrong that it's right.
So wrong that it's right. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. 65-year-old Sean Connery saying that. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. Anyway,
yeah.
So we have, and also, yeah, he's. I don't know what else you want to say about the guy. Like,
I guess actually, what I do want to point out is that there's an episode of The Simpsons where Sideshow Bob is clearly based off the Sean Connery character. It's the one where someone's trying to kill Homer, so they have to get like a master criminal to help Homer out, and it's Sideshow Bob, and they have like the kind of a similar reveal of like him appearing kind of tied up and like being elevated into the interview.
Yeah,
and it's like, here it is. So yeah, that's the thing. I guess that's an example of. And I mean, what was it? Was it last week even that we said the height of cultural relevance is being parodied? Oh no, it wasn't on this, was it? It was in Dankpole. Oh no, I've crossed my wires. Where we said the height of cultural relevance was being parodied in The Simpsons.
Yeah, Rush Limbaugh. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so well, here's the thing. His character, Sean Connery's character, has been betrayed by his own government, because his own government, the British government, have just left him out to dry. They have said, yeah, sorry, pal. We don't actually know you. You were stealing the secrets for us. Yeah, we don't know you. We don't know him. So you can't. Yeah, he says he was an SAS officer. No. Yeah, look him up. We don't care about him. So he's been treated badly by his government. And the villain of the movie, of course, played by Ed Harris. What's his name again?
Yeah, I keep forgetting.
It's Brigadier General that's it. Hummel. Francis Hummel. This absolute legend.
Oh, yeah.
Who did the Tet Offensive, Desert Storm, all the worst things in American history. Desert Storm wasn't as bad as the Tet Offensive. So basically, he's. There was a great line about how I did all those things live on CNN for you, referencing Desert Storm. So yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that backstory for him. But yeah, he also has been treated badly by his government. Or he hasn't been like left for dead or anything. But his motivation is a very interesting motivation. The United States have done all this illegal shit in countries that they shouldn't have done. And basically, those soldiers have not received any compensation for that. And
yes,
yeah, and I mean, it is. Look, obviously, the United States shouldn't have done those things in those countries. But yeah, it's completely right. Like if you go off and do some illegal shit just because the United States shouldn't have done that, doesn't mean that this person now is not dead. Like they did not exist. Like they weren't being employed by the U.S. military. They should receive compensation. And I can understand why he would be aggrieved by that. Absolutely. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird, actually, because you could almost make an argument that really in this film there's almost three different kind of attitudes towards, or three different, I guess, perspectives on loyalty to your country. In that I think you could probably say, so Sean Connery, he's been betrayed by his government. Although obviously to an extent, I think from what I've seen from Mission Impossible films, if you're ever caught or compromised, the secretary will deny all knowledge of your actions. So I guess that's kind of part of the job. But he's obviously been screwed over, and yet they say like that he never gave up the information. Like that's why he's in prison. That's kind of what they imply. They said like they kept him in prison because they wanted him to give up the information, and he never did. So that shows kind of loyalty. The Marines who get shot, the guy who cannot give that order, of course, and his kind of thing is that he is loyal to the government, even when his government is doing kind of a wrong thing by not, paying compensation. His government is in the wrong in that scenario because they have, like you said, not paid compensation for these people who died and deserve it. And then, of course, you've got Hummel. Is it Hummel? Not Pummel. Hummel. Who is his thing is that he's, I guess, he'd probably say he's being loyal. He has been loyal to the government, but now he's being loyal to the people who, fought and died for the government. And, so you've got kind of those three different attitudes of people kind of having, saying they're going to be loyal. And of course, at the center of it, you've got the idea that governments do bad things, which is a very kind of cynical, and I guess you'd say emotionally and morally nuanced take.
It's true. Like, this is the thing, like, they just admit it. I don't know, it's cynical. It's like, yeah, this is the case. And this is, you had Iran-Contra, which was, 10 years before this movie. So it'll still be relatively fresh in people's minds. They'll know about it. And yeah, like, it is an interesting dilemma. And I think in terms of the villain, Frank Hummel, like, yeah, the United States have done all this illegal stuff, and that's what you have to do if you run an empire. You think about it, you have to, like, kill people in Cambodia and China. That's what you have to do. And if you don't run it properly, and, you don't compensate people, basically, you allow people to do illegal stuff, then when they come back to America, basically they have a license to think that they can do anything, since you have given them so much power overseas. That's the way I look at it. These people coming home from, like, the frontiers of, the empire that America has built, and they've done this horrible stuff, and they can't get back into, like, civilization, and especially when they've been wronged. Like, they believe that they'll do anything, they'll take matters into their own hands. Like, they could kill, like, fucking 80,000 people. And the thing is, like, the message really, what does the president say? He said, how could we have strayed down this path to even turn Frank Hummel against us? Like, the message of the movie, you think about it, it's quite like, it's not the best message, because it does call out the United States for doing illegal stuff and says, look how badly they're treating the soldiers. But instead it's like, no, we need to, like, I guess the message is, no, he has a point. What we need to do is compensate the soldiers when they do this illegal stuff. That's the message.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's kind of the thing, but obviously the key takeaway is that the film doesn't really have a clear moralistic message, in that obviously it's kind of, sure, obviously they, it would be good to take care of these soldiers, but obviously the guy who stands up to demand that, it's like, oh, he has to be killed and screwed over. And then obviously there's the fact that the government does get away with lots of stuff. And of course, you get the fact that the money that they're supposed to be giving up is money they've got from illegal arms deals they've been doing and things like that. So that's kind of the other thing on top of it, that Hummel, the only thing he's asking for is money that comes from illegal activities of the government anyway. So there is this kind of very strong aspect at the end of it of, like, I guess, it's funny because obviously, and I suppose it's an example of why the characters are so important. It's so important that they're well built, obviously in terms of Goodspeed and Mason, in that the actual kind of moral tension of the film, obviously, lots of people being killed is a bad thing, but you don't really want the government to win here. And you don't exactly want Hummel to be defeated. You don't want him to kill all these people, but you actually do want him to really kind of get the thing he's asking for, because the thing he's asking for is actually pretty reasonable. Which is why, obviously, it's not really about a good versus evil thing in the wider tensions of the plot, but it is about, obviously, these characters and their own individual situation, which again is a very kind of sophisticated dynamic to have in just a over-the-top action film. Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah, I do agree. It is quite a sophisticated thing for a movie. And, it's new. I mean, you think about modern Michael Bay movies, the bad guy, or modern action movies, the bad guy is probably bad. But this guy, he's not actually, like, he does not want to kill anybody. He does not want to take innocent civilians' lives. He just wants, his men to be, like he says, I'm not a fucking lunatic. I'm not going to kill all those people. But yeah, I guess what I'd say is the right thing to do is to do what Sean Connery does,
which is just he realizes he's been fucked over by his government, but he just wants to escape and get back to his daughter. Like, that's the key. You will be used, and Nick Cage is kind of used in the same way. Like, he's put in harm's way for something he doesn't want to do. Like, he's just kind of forced to do it. And he's got a baby on the way and he's got a fiance. But if you work for the government, you will be forced to do just horrible things potentially. If you get high enough up, I guess, and if you're in the correct field, you could do illegal shit. And if you die, well, who cares? You won't get compensated for it. So I would like it, to really seal the deal on this theme. I guess it's not a theme though. Like, let's just say it's not really a theme of the movie. But to make it into a theme, you would have like Sean Connery just say, like, hey, you should quit your job as an FBI director or an FBI guy. I mean, guess he's not really in the field anyway, so maybe it doesn't make sense for Nick Cage's character to do that. But maybe he could say, hey, you should quit your job as the FBI, just enjoy your life living, with your daughter and your wife in fucking, I don't know, Kansas, where he finds out about the JFK secrets. I don't know. Like, yeah, just get away from that, because if you are used by the government, it will probably not end well for you. And that is, even though that's not the message that the movie really wants to promote, I don't think necessarily, but it is a message that can be interpreted from this movie, I guess. And then that's nice. It's nice things to talk about in a Michael Bay action movie, isn't it, Michael? These are nice things to talk about.
They're like themes.
Yeah, I know, crazy, right? Anyway, let's talk about the action scenes now. So the action.
Yes.
The opening scene. Yeah, or the opening scenes, I should say. Great. The intensity is there, the action is there as well, and I think that sets of course it sets the tone for the whole movie because it's right at the start. But like I said before, the best action scene is when Goodspeed gets in that Ferrari. He's like, FBI, he has to commandeer the Ferrari, and it's just like, yes, of course, it's cliche and it's a bit ridiculous, but that's why it's so fun. And, when he goes, why not? And he jumps through that window in the Ferrari and then says to Sean Connery, just shouts at him, like, you're going down. Just like, nobody else can hear him. Just Nick Cage shouting in his bright yellow Ferrari. Again, like, it works for this character because he's a bit, eccentric. He's not really an action character. He's a fucking chemical PhD guy. So to do that, it's fun, Michael, and that I absolutely love that. And then of course at the end with the tram collapsing and exploding and the Ferrari getting destroyed, just pure Michael Bay stuff. But you can have that ending when you've had the fun before it. I don't know about you. Do you like that scene, that action scene, as much as me?
Yes, I wrote down that the car chase was fun. I think it's the first major piece of action. I guess it's quite late on for the first major piece of action, which is fun, and it just. It's over the top. It's bombastic. I think they say like he caused like $40 million of damage or something like that. And it's like exactly what you really want a car chase to be. I will say, I think you did see a bit of Michael Bay's kind of overzealous cutting, where sometimes it was like a bit hard to tell, like the action wasn't clear. So I will say, from a technical point, like occasionally I was like, generally speaking, a good rule of thumb is like action is more entertaining when it's easy to see. And there were a few moments where I was like, oh, it's a bit hard to actually, it just feels like the camera just goes, and you can't actually see what's happening. Yeah. But a lot of the other time it was really entertaining, like most of it.
Like there's this bit when Nick Cage is in a Ferrari and he's having to avoid the I can't remember what it was. It's maybe a truck that slammed down in front of him, or a van. And like there's a load of cuts, and like I remember that there was a cut which was just a bit too long, which showed just the Ferrari just calmly like driving past it, like he wasn't in any danger. And that's the thing, like if you're doing these sharp cuts, it's because what's happening actually in reality is that when you're actually doing the stunt, the car isn't in danger. He's just like kind of driving around it, but you need to make it look dramatic. And yeah, it's obviously it's a hard thing to pull off, but yeah, I noticed that a bit. But anyway, overall, I think that action scene is great. You got the mine shaft action scene, that's fun as well. Not the best, It's like reminding me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of. What's it called?
Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
Temple of Doom.
There's a lot of mine shafts in that movie from my memory, and yeah,
yes,
yeah, it was kind of like that. I mean, it was fine, I guess. But yeah, and then of course at the ending, like I said, the ending is fun, but it's just like standard people shooting people, like punching people. Wasn't that fun an ending, I guess. But I will say that I loved that the first action scene with the yellow. I mean, come on, when Yeah, I don't know. It's just like this movie, like you're recognizing what's happening in front of you is just stupid. But when Nick Cage is like, "Oh, to hell with it," and just like gets in the Ferrari and is like jumps through the window, it's just like, yeah, you do it. Like it's like you've taken a drug. It's like, yeah, do all this crazy shit that makes no sense. Please do it. So, and that's a sign of a good action scene. So yeah, well done to Michael Bay. Well, I mean, look, he's known for his action, and I think he's done a great job. Certainly in one of those scenes, an incredible job. So yeah, we all did on that, Michael. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I mean, obviously it's over the top. I mean, in the final action scene, like obviously there's a lot of just like shooting. I guess when it comes to shooting, it's kind of easier because you don't have to necessarily have as much kind of dynamic stuff going on as you did with the car chase. But I think it's, even in that case, it's kind of gritty is not really the right word, but it's kind of just, I guess it's bombastic. It's like, and you feel it. And I guess it's kind of, it doesn't have to be too over the top in a way. Yeah. It's just people shooting at each other.
And that works if the character is also bombastic and over the top, which is what Nick Cage's character is, like you said, yeah. So anyway, Michael, just before we conclude, I mentioned before weapons of mass destruction in reference to the chemicals, and that is for a very good reason. Do you know this story, Michael, about the Iraq weapons of mass destruction and the Rock? Do you know this story?
I mean, I know obviously some aspects of it, but I mean, it's because obviously I know that we went into Iraq in 2003 because we thought there were weapons of mass destruction. I know, a few things about that.
You don't know how that relates to The Rock?
Well, okay, so I know that the UK, I thought it was the UK actually, it was probably the US too, did give some weapons to Iraq during, I think it was the Iran-Iraq war in 1982.
Okay, but what has that got? I'm asking.
Oh, so obviously the point about The Rock, I mean, I think that's what you're getting at. Obviously, The Rock is about how the US and US government has done lots of shady deals behind the curtain. So,
no.
Oh,
no. So you're going to enjoy the story then?
Oh, okay.
Because you were just talking about in general. I'm talking about something quite specific. So, this is the Iraq chemical weapons program bit of the Rock Wikipedia page. A scene from the film was the basis for incorrect and false descriptions of the Iraqi chemical weapons program. British Secret Intelligence Service was led to believe Saddam Hussein was continuing to produce weapons of mass destruction by false agents who based his reports on the movie, according to the Chilcot Inquiry. Just incredible. In September 2002, MI6 chief Sir Richard Dearlove said the agency had acquired information from a new source, revealing that Iraq was stepping up production of chemical and biological warfare weapons. This was right in the height of, or should we go to the war in Iraq in September 2002. The source, who was said to have, quote, direct access, claimed senior staff were working 7 days a week while the regime was concentrating a great deal of effort on the production of anthrax. Dearlove told the chairman of the Joint Intelligence Committee, Sir John Scarlett, that they were, quote, on the edge of a significant intel breakthrough which could be the, quote, key to unlock Iraq's weapons program. However, questions were raised about the agent's claims when it was noticed his description bore a striking resemblance to a scene from the film. It was pointed out that the glass containers were not typically used in chemical munitions, and that a popular movie, The Rock, had inaccurately depicted nerve agents being carried in glass beads or spheres. The Chilcot report stated, by February 2003, a month before the invasion of Iraq, MI6 concluded that their source had been lying over a period of time, but failed to inform Number 10 or others, even though UK Prime Minister Tony Blair had been briefed on this intelligence. According to The Independent, the false claims of weapons of mass destruction were the justification for UK's entering the war. So literally, this source, who apparently had a connection to, Iraq's weapons manufacturing, had said, oh yeah, there's some chemicals in like glass shit, and that's what they're doing. So yeah, you might want to invade this country. And he'd literally taken this concept from The Rock and told MI6, and MI6 had not told Tony Blair about this, so Tony Blair was still under the full... He was under the full impression that Iraq actually had WMDs. That is what the Chilcot Inquiry unearthed. Just absolutely staggering, Michael. And I remember I read about this a few years ago, or whenever, I mean, it was probably during the Chilcot Inquiry. Like, this shit came out, and I was surprised. So I'm surprised you haven't heard of this, because it's quite a crazy story and quite a classic story.
is incredible. I guess it shows that one thing we can thank The Rock for then is helping to rid the world of that dangerous dictator, Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, they would have gone into Iraq anyway, though. Of course, like that's the thing. Like the United States still didn't. This apparently had no. The United States isn't mentioned here. The film's co-writer.
But would the US have been able to do anything without the help of the UK?
I know.
Yeah, without us, they're powerless.
Tony Blair would have still wanted to go in, though. He still would have wanted. That's the thing. That was his whole ideology, liberal interventionism. The film's co-writer David Weisberg said, "What was so amazing was anybody in the poison gas community would immediately know that this was total bullshit. Such obvious bullshit." Weisberg said he was unsurprised a desperate agent might resort to films for inspiration, but dismayed that authorities, quote, didn't do apparently the most basic fact-checking or vetting of the information. Or maybe they did and they didn't care. If you just asked a chemical weapons expert, it would have been immediately obvious. It was ludicrous. Weisberg said that he had some funny emails after the report, but he felt it's not a nice legacy for the film, and it's tragic that we went to war, he concluded. So that Weisberg is not a patriot then. Now, I mean, now the movie's themes kind of make a bit more sense now he said that. But yeah, like, it was obvious. Well, that's the thing. MI6 concluded that the source had been lying in February 2003, but they were still like, "No, let's not tell Tony Blair." So yeah, the intelligence services knew, and they say February 2003, but maybe they knew quite a bit beforehand, and they were like, "Yeah, no, let's just not tell anyone. Let's just keep this going." So, and Weisberg, I agree. It was stupid, but maybe he was being a bit naive, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll just believe this. We'll just keep on believing it because we want to fucking go to war in Iraq. And yeah, we won't tell Tony Blair, even though, like I said, I don't think, Tony Blair, if he'd been told, would have changed his decision. But yeah, Michael, that's a nice story to end on, isn't it? And,
that's so funny.
Yeah, I'm sure all those Iraqis dead, Michael, because of this movie, find it funny as well. Okay, obviously. Like I said, these are, we still would have gone to war in Iraq.
Yeah, The Rock, more like Iraq.
Iraq. It's Iraq. Gentlemen, welcome to the Iraq War.
Yeah. Listen here, Goodspeed. We shouldn't go into Iraq.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yes. Saddam Hussein needs to be brought down, Goodspeed. He's committing war crimes. We can give the people of Iraq liberation. Yeah. Give them democracy.
Alcatraz sounds like a bloody Arab to me.
Right, I mean, like, that's just racist, isn't it? Like, I don't...
Well, I mean, I'm saying that, Sean Connery is racist. Sean Connery used to punch women in the face.
Yes. It's like, if a woman is talking out of turn, I slap them. Still a policy I implement. Yes. Okay.
Anyway, what
right,
fun.
Let's get into conclusion. You conclude first, Michael.
Yeah, so, fun fact, this film is pretty good. It's over the top and crazy and mental, but it's also, I mean, that's entertaining. That's what arguably makes a good action film. I think it's possible for an action film to be good and, in a way that maybe is a bit more kind of, I don't know, like dignified, like maybe not completely over the top, but, this is a perfectly fine way for an action film to be, like just over the top, crazy, and that's my review. No, but on top of that, you have the fact that the characterization is really well done. It's pretty subtle, but it's also quite well defined. And then you also have this kind of nuanced moral dimension to it, and it that makes it interesting to watch because you're not sat there thinking, oh, this is pretty uncomplicated. The bad guys are going to get beaten by the good guys. No, it's kind of like, obviously you do know that the people who are framed as kind of the bad guys are going to get defeated. You can reasonably conclude that. But the fact that they are the bad guys as opposed to the good guys is not uncomplicated. That's interesting. And with all that said, I'm going to... I think this film's better than Point Break. And for me, I'd say I want to give it I'm thinking a 7. I'm thinking maybe maybe even a high 7. I'm putting it very close to Die Hard, and I think I'll put it. I'm just gonna bloody put it below Die Hard, and that's a high 7 for me. And it's
wow.
it's a high 7.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, I'll say this: The Rock is a very good action movie. Like you said, it is over the top, but the characters in this movie and the dialogue as well, it all works. It all works, and overall, like you said, it is entertaining. That's the key thing. I said that with Point Break last week. Like for the last stretch of that movie, I just couldn't keep my eyes off it, and it's kind of the same with this. I think it's just incredibly entertaining. I think the first half of the movie I prefer to the latter half. I think it gets weaker as it goes on, but I still do really like this movie overall. And yeah, some of the action scenes are great as well, which is pretty key for an action movie. And yes, this movie might even have a message or a theme, although you could say you're taking it too far there. It wasn't what the people intended while they were creating this movie, but I don't know, maybe, given that comment on the Iraq War from Weisberg. But yeah, I'll just say, yeah, this is probably the best action movie we've reviewed, one of the best action movies of all time, and possibly my favourite. I can't remember, Michael, what I gave Die Hard. I'm looking now, and what I gave Die Hard, Michael, do you want to know what I gave Die Hard? I gave Die Hard an 8. So this is going higher. This is going to be, I'm putting it in right now, this is going to be an 8.5 out of 10 for Die Hard. Last week, Point Break was an 8. This is an 8.5. This is a seriously impressive movie, and I really do like it and appreciate it. The Rock. Of course, Sean Connery passed away this year, R.I.P. So yeah, we're doing this in his memory as well. Yes, I'm sure he'd appreciate that. Can you tell me what we're doing next week, Michael?
Yes, we're doing another bombastic, action-packed Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Breakfast at Tiffany's, yes. Continuing our streak of incredible action movies. Point Break, The Rock, and Breakfast.
Yeah. And who can get that classic line? Breakfast is served.
Yeah, breakfast is served.
That's and then, of course, there's a classic line, don't have a tiff, Benny.
Okay, right. Well, we'll enjoy doing Sean Connery impressions of puns about the Breakfast at Tiffany's title, I guess, next week. And join us then. So yes, we've been selecting and reflecting on The Rock, because of its 25-year anniversary. By the way, yeah, the Nick Cage movie is called like The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and I like the concept. It's like Nick Cage playing a bunch of characters, and that he himself is playing himself, and he has to play a bunch of characters because a billionaire really loves him, and he has to do that to escape his like mansion or something. I think that's kind of the premise. It's an interesting premise. I do like it, but yeah, I haven't. There's not a lot of info on this movie. It's being released on March the 19th, and that's all I know. There's nothing else to it. But yeah, so join us next week for Breakfast at Tiffany's. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.